Hi, I'm a Possum and I find garbage. Today's garbage is Groom Lake, a low-budget shot-on-video movie about stupid things happening at Area 51, directed by William Shatner. Yes, that William Shatner, the television actor who is most famous for his starring role as the Priceline Negotiator.
Priceline Negotiator!
Up until they replaced him with some woman nobody cares about. Now he just gives autographs to fat people at conventions. But I guess when his career was still sticking halfway out of the toilet, William Shatner, or as I like to call him, Billy Bullshit, decided to make this movie, which I happened to find at a used bookstore for $3. Hold on a second.
Good evening, Mr. Possum. We're with the government.
Hey, I finished hanging up those flyers. Sorry, I had to take a dump. What can I do for you boys?
We're going door to door asking for donations to fund the Space Development Agency.
Yeah, those pricks at the House Armed Services Committee won't give us the $15 million we asked for.
Do I look like I have money?
Well, do you know anyone who does?
Why, yes I do. Here are their names. Blandest, Charles J. Harris, Keith Paul, Lex Reardon, Paco, Victor Ivan Rushinoff.
Wow, those are some generous people.
Yeah, maybe we should set up a Patreon.
Yeah, you do that. Well, that padded the video. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. The movie starts with a truck driving through the Nevada desert. We cut to an interior of the truck and see the driver looking out at the purple glow behind the mountain in a poorly color-graded day-for-night shot. He parks the truck and starts shouting his poorly dubbed demands for the purple thing to take him.
I'm here! You son of a bitch! I'm here! It's me! Take me!
But the purple thing flies away, leaving the truck driver behind with his hands looking like Jeffrey Epstein's bedsheet under a blacklight. We then cut to our protagonist driving through the desert. I can't be bothered to remember their names, so I'm just gonna call the girl Girl, and the guy Tom Russell, because it kinda looks like Tom Cruise and Kurt Russell fused together to create some kind of handsome hybrid with the strengths of neither and the weaknesses of both. We find out through a really clunky expository flashback that Girl is dying because of a very aggressive form of lupus. I died from a very aggressive form of lupus once. A whole pack of them, in fact. I was on a plane with Liam Neeson and it crashed somewhere in Alaska, and then... Oh wait, that was a movie. And it was a different kind of lupus. You're gonna have to excuse me, sometimes I get a little confused when I mix up my meds with tequila and start binge-watching Netflix until I pass out at 9 in the morning while eating Dollar Tree pretzels. Anyway, the Girl and Tom Russell stop at a gas station where the truck driver from earlier has a stock footage rattlesnake in a cage. Girl decides to knock over the cage and free the snake. Then the truck driver tries to stab Tom Russell. Girl saves Tom Russell by bribing the truck driver with $20. Then Tom Russell and Girl drive through the alien-obsessed town, and our oh-so-likable heroes make fun of the homeless people.
Wait a minute, look at this guy. Now all he needs is a chainsaw and a hockey mask.
They stop at a diner where we're introduced to William Shatner, who plays some kind of military scientist or something. You know, my grandfather was a military scientist. He had some kind of weird obsession with twins and wanted to change my eye color. He retired somewhere in South America. Then some prick dug up his grave. Anyway, Shatner's arguing with some government guy who says he's shutting down his program, which we'll learn more about later.
I'm gonna take a dump.
Then a waitress walks up to Girl and Tom Russell and explains that this town is notorious for UFO sightings, and Tom Russell dismisses everyone's beliefs as rudely as possible.
A monkey will jump out of my ass.
Cut to the truck driver hitting the snake with his machete, then cut to William Shatner pulling up to the gates of Area 51 where the edges of the wide-angle converter are clearly visible. As they drive through, government guy exposits to William Shatner about things he already knows, just so the audience will know what's going on, because thinking of more natural ways to convey information to the audience is too hard for an experienced writer and director like William Shatner.
You fill the sky with this incredible laser light show and make people think they're seeing UFOs.
We're flying the B-1 and the Stealth all over, hundreds of test flights over 2 decades, and not a single reported sighting. They actually were seeing the B-1, but those sightings got dumped in with the rest before it all became one big pile of tabloid bull, and the Russians never knew nothing.
Meanwhile, girl tells Tom Russell she wants to camp out at the same mountain where truck driver was yelling at the purple thing. Only the purple thing ain't there now. So they see the government property sign tell them to keep out, but they decide to go anyway, disregarding the possibility of getting shot. William Shatner and government guy arrive at Biosphere 2, which the movie wants us to believe is Area 51, even though a giant greenhouse doesn't look anything like a military Air Force base. They go down some stairs. William Shatner tells government guy that he's going to be staying with Captain Morgan.
You'll stay with Captain Morgan.
The last time I stayed with Captain Morgan, I woke up in a drunk tank with this tattoo. William Shatner walks to the control center of Area 51 where all the scientists use late 90s IMAX, and he tells the scientist guy they have 36 hours to do whatever it is they're doing. Then government guy realizes Captain Booze is trapping him in a closet under orders from William Shatner to keep him from shutting them down. Then William Shatner goes into a vault to talk to a glowing purple guy who I guess is possessed by an alien or something. We then cut to Girl and Tom Russell trying to drive up the mountain when the car rolls down a cliff, and instead of being mad that he almost got them killed, Girl starts making out with him. Later that night, they realize the car is leaking coolant, and it's at this point they realize they're stranded in the desert, which is apparently only mildly annoying to our heroes. So Tom Russell and Girl set up camp for the night, and have an argument about whether or not there exists life on other planets. Girl uses nonsensical logic to argue that if there is life on other planets, this somehow means there must be an afterlife.
Why, sweetheart? I mean, why is that so important to you?
Because we're the only ones. The only ones among all those stars. And we're just an accident. But if there's other life out there, then it proves we're not an accident. We're part of a process, a continuum as endless and timeless as space itself. And when I go to join something.
Excuse me, but how would the existence of life on other planets prove we're not an accident? If anything, finding life on other planets would prove the exact opposite of what she's arguing, because it would just go to show that the same chemistry which makes life possible on Earth exists elsewhere and isn't special. It's just another natural part of the universe, no different than gravity or the cosmic microwave background. And if that's the case, then we're really just bags of meat grown from the chemical conversion of foreign matter into biomass, animated by entirely natural electrochemical processes, then what reason is there to believe there's an afterlife? On the other hand, if Earth really is the only planet in the entire universe that has life on it, then that uniqueness implies, but doesn't necessarily prove, that we could be specially designed by a higher intelligence for some unknown purpose. But even if that were the case, that still wouldn't prove the existence of an afterlife, because it could just be the case that it's some extra-dimensional beings are cultivated for reasons we can't understand, and they are all different to us.
God! What's going on? Oh, God! Barry! God, ambulance!
Okay, Mr. Ant, but you're using the free version of this app, so you have to watch an ad first.
Anyway, Tom Russell is sad that Girl is dying of lupus, and he explains that he was alone his entire life, even going so far as to fabricate Valentines to himself when he was in school so other kids wouldn't know he was single. Yes, the movie wants us to believe that this cartoonishly handsome bastard has trouble picking up girls. And Girl says she's afraid of dying because she's also afraid of loneliness and being without him. But then Tom Russell sees the glowing thing behind the mountain and decides to go check it out because white people in horror movies always have to check it out. He tells Girl to stay behind even though they just got done talking about how they can't stand the thought of being apart from each other. Okay? Meanwhile, government guy hangs out in the closet and notices a stagehand shaking the table. Then we see truck guy show up at some UFO watching party in the desert where he assaults a news reporter for no reason while everyone cheers. So government guy starts yelling at the surveillance camera in the closet, which is just crudely taped to a pipe, but everyone ignores him. Then Tom Russell sees a guy crawl into a fence and follows him. Then sees a UFO rise up from the mountain. Then all the desert weirdos start cheering as a bad CGI effect flies above them. For some reason, truck guy falls over and starts shaking. Then the thing flies away. Then the girl sees the UFO. Then Tom Russell sees the guy he followed through the fence get chased by guards and electrocuted when he tries to climb an electric fence, which somehow causes him to die frozen standing up. So because the Area 51 security was busy chasing that guy, they didn't notice Tom Russell also sneaked in, so he escapes. Then a truck pulls up to Girl, and she asks the two rednecks to come out if they saw the UFO. They say they didn't, and offer her a ride back to town. But when she gets in the truck, the rednecks start ripping her clothes off and viciously assaulting her. And then a third redneck comes out of nowhere to join in. Sometime later, Tom Russell finally comes back and finds her half naked and crying. We then cut from this brutal and traumatic scene to this goofy thing. So it turns out William Shatner was flying around in the UFO or something. The next morning, Tom Russell and Girl wake up in the desert, and Tom Russell notices the purple stuff on his hand, but doesn't seem all that worried about it, so he and Girl find a nearby road. Meanwhile, government guy tells Captain Morgan that he's gonna have him held personally responsible for locking him up and interfering with government business, but nothing comes of it. William Shatner tells the alien guy they have to be ready to do whatever it is they're planning within the next 12 hours. Then Tom Russell and Girl hitch a ride with some creepy weirdo who complains about aliens mutilating his cows.
They've been getting my cows.
Your cows?
They mutilate them. Rip out their p***s.
What?
So the creepy guy tells them Girl is probably pregnant now, and they arrive at the pediatrician's office, which is supposed to be a hospital. Tom Russell sees some medics bring in the charred body of the guy he saw run into the electric fence, but they say he ran into a power pole. He then leaves Girl with the doctor, then goes to the diner across the street to use the payphone, but it doesn't work. So then he goes to clean himself up in the bathroom, but finds that water makes him glow purple now. While he's gone, the doctor finds Girl is also glowing purple, and makes a phone call. The movie makes a point to show that none of the phones are working, but somehow this guy is able to make a phone call. Tom Russell tells the waitress from earlier about the spaceship he saw, and shows his glowing purple hands. He then goes back to Girl and tells her he wants to get out of town, but she insists they go back to where they saw the spaceship, but doesn't explain why. Tom Russell then shows the doctor a cut he got on his arm while he was sneaking around Area 51, but refuses to let him give him an injection. Tom Russell then hitches a ride with the truck driver guy who tried to stab him earlier to try to find his car in the desert, and while he's gone, the government shows up and takes Girl away. Then truck guy realizes government guys are following them, and he pulls a gun out and starts ranting about how the aliens are coming for their women and children. Then Tom Russell realizes the government guys are after him and Girl, and truck guy turns the truck around and smashes one of their cars, then drops his tow cable and hooks the other car because the driver somehow didn't see it and makes them flip over. Tom Russell and truck guy head back to town to save Girl, but the waitress drives up and tells them the government took her. So then truck guy comes up with a plan to break into Area 51 to rescue her. Girl wakes up bound to a hospital bed in Area 51, and the glowing purple guy walks in on her. He breathes out purple mist and it goes into her. Lots of things are going into her lately. Then Tom Russell and truck guy use the tow truck to pull down the fence outside Area 51 and simply walk in, because that's all it takes to get into the most secure military facility in the world. Also, they have military police uniforms now. It's never explained where or how they got them. A guard dog smells them, but then a military guy driving a golf cart comes driving up and tells the other guard they have a security breach at the south gate.
Johnson, over here, let's go. We got a security breach south gate.
Then the dog guy goes running. So why'd the golf cart guy have to drive up to tell him that? Do they not have radios? You know, mall cops have both golf carts and radios. So is a shopping mall more secure than Area 51? See, back when I was in prison, there were a lot of guards who would walk these patrol routes, and they had radios and everything. And there was this one guy, we called him Mario, like Mario the plumber. That wasn't his real name, and he wasn't a plumber, but you can guess why we called him that. Anyway, he was a little funny in the head. This one time, he punched out one of the guards and took his nightstick and just ran off with it. They threw him in solitary and searched his cell, but they couldn't find it. But when they let him out of solitary 3 days later, he was holding the nightstick, but, well, let's just say it smelled a little funny. Tom Russell and truck guy just walk right into the sewage treatment plant that's supposed to be Area 51, and follow some guys in hazmat suits and see the room with the big purple glowing thing. But the door closes before they can get in. Tom Russell asks the truck guy where Girl is, and he just somehow knows they brought her to the infirmary. He doesn't know where it is, though. So they find a scientist driving a golf cart, and Tom Russell pretends he got his foot run over just to trick the scientist into telling them where the infirmary is. For some reason, the door to the infirmary is up a flight of stairs, even though one would think it would have to be wheelchair accessible, but whatever. Tom Russell and truck guy see Girl through the window. Then Truck Guy comes up with a plan to stand there, pretending to be guards, until somebody comes and opens the door. Scientist Guy comes out and asks them what they're doing, and Truck Guy says Captain Morgan told them to stand there, even though he has no way of knowing about Captain Morgan because he's never been inside Area 51 before. But there's no time to ponder that plot hole because Tom Russell and Truck Guy rush into the infirmary. Tom Russell unties Girl, and William Shatner gets the purple old guy to breathe purple mist into the alien suit. So I guess the purple mist is actually the alien, and the old guy is just the body the alien was possessing. Anyway, Trucker Guy comes in and takes the alien hostage at gunpoint, and simply walks out of Area 51 with him without encountering any resistance. Girl tells William Shatner that the alien talked to her and told her William Shatner was trying to send him home, and they realize Truck Guy is going to bring the alien to town to show him off and prove the aliens are real. And since Truck Guy is too stupid to realize the military might come after him, he does exactly that. For some reason, the alien is going to die if he doesn't go back to his home planet soon. So Tom Russell and Girl get in a car with William Shatner and drive after Truck Guy, and on the way, William Shatner explains a bunch of nonsense about how the aliens come from a planet where the people figured out how to turn themselves into gas so they could withstand the stresses of near light-speed travel through space. Let's just ignore the fact that you can accelerate at a rate of 9.8 meters per second squared and get to 99% of light speed in less than a year, while experiencing G-force no stronger than Earth's gravitational pull, provided you have enough energy to accelerate for that long, so it's not at all necessary to turn yourself into purple mist to travel between stars. Meanwhile, Government Guy, who's still in the closet, pretends to choke, so Scientist Guy alerts Captain Morgan, who decides to check on him personally instead of sending in a medic. Government Guy threatens him with a court-martial if he doesn't let him out. This is like the third time Government Guy threatened Captain Morgan, but it works this time, and he lets him out. Trucker Guy drives into town with the alien strapped to the back of his truck, and everyone in town comes to look. He tells them they're all going to be rich somehow, but the townspeople inexplicably decide they should kill the alien. So they pull Trucker Guy down and start punching him and shoot the alien, but the bullets have no effect. The alien then starts shooting lasers out of his hands, blowing up cars and lighting people on fire. That's when Tom Russell, Girl, and William Shatner show up and untie the alien. Then, as they're leading him back to the car, the alien shoots a laser at Trucker Guy and Waitress, but the beam splits apart at the last second and wrecks the buildings around them. He really didn't have to do that, he was just being a d***. Back at Area 51, Government Guy calls his superiors in Washington and gets authorization to shut down William Shatner's project. Then the gang make it back to Area 51 and prepare to launch the spaceship. Government Guy hears the announcement that they're about to launch, so he starts yelling on the phone for William Shatner to abort, but he ignores him. The spaceship takes off, then Government Guy yells at William Shatner, but Shatner just tosses him the keys to Area 51 and quits. Tom Russell and Girl climb up to the top of a mountain in the desert, and Girl tells Tom Russell that the alien told her that there is an afterlife, so she doesn't have to be afraid of dying anymore, because somehow the alien knows that.
But then he said that I'm not dying. My container is.
And that what's really me doesn't end with the container.
Does it mean your soul?
I think he meant more than that. I think he meant my essence.
Isn't that the same thing? Anyway, Tom Russell and Girl watch the alien spaceship fly away, then the movie ends. So that's Groom Lake, and this has been my review of it, which nobody will watch because nobody has heard of this movie and doesn't care. So like, comment, subscribe, and support me on Patreon. I'm gonna go heat up my frozen pizza. Bye.